Welcome students to the Oracle Apex tutorial 4. Our today's tutorial is based on the concepts of how to create and control the forms in the Oracle Flix application, which we have already been created in our previous labs. So before I start, let's discuss about the purpose of the form. In the last tutorial, we created the reports, and the purpose of the report is to share selected data or show the selected data for the users. So for the forms, but sometimes when we want the user will add the data in our database. So we allow the users to add some data in the database. For this purpose, we need a form because the users cannot directly add the data in the database. That is the purpose we need to create the forms, and so that the users will update the database. So forms are what are they? Are application components that are basically used for data input from end users. An application form takes input from an end user and saves it into the Oracle database when they submit the page by clicking Apply Changes or Save. For example, if you use a form to insert data into an employee's table, you have to, according to the requirements, you have to update the fields, and that data is directly stored in the employees table of your database in the database. So forms are made up of fields which we call items and which can be selected from the multitude of built-in types such as text fields, text areas, radio groups, select list, checkboxes, date pickers, and pop-up list of values. So let's start the activities. Before I start, I'll take you to the Oracle Flix application. Just have a look. The today's activity, we have 3 activities. Number 1, we are first of all, we are going to create a form on a table. You know that in Oracle Flix, we are working with 3 tables, right? What 3 tables? Movies, customers, and actors table of the Oracle Flix project. So we are going to create a form for each of these tables. Then we create a page control, and the last activity adding computations, processes, and validations to the form. So I'm going now taking you to the Oracle Flix. Now here you go. I'm logged into my Apex application, and the first activity is to create a form on a table. So first, as what we do, we'll go to our application builder. I'm going to create a form on the movies table to add a new movie entry to the movies table, right? So how we start, we are going to go to the app builder, then choose the Oracle Flix application, which you created in the last labs. And here you go for we are going to create a new page. So create page, form, next. Okay. Now on this pop-up window, you see that there are different components are visible. So page number is by default, it's 13. You do not need to make any changes for that. Since we are going to create a form on the table, on a movie table. So I'm giving some meaningful name, add movie. And then we select the table to store the new entry from the add movie form. This is the name of my form. And when the user enter the values using this form, so in which table it should go, so it should go into the movies table. So here you go and select the movies table, right? Then the third section is about the navigation part, and here what we do, here we'll go again with the default values. Just you have to make sure that the navigation preference should be create a new entry and the parent navigation menu entry, yes. So this part is actually about that in our Oracle Flex application, which we already created. So this form should be a part of is any can be a sub menu of any other table, or we wanted to make it as it is on the home page. So we want it to come under the movies table. So just here put the next. Okay. Now, here in this part, we need to specify the branches in which each button will direct to the user. First of all, we have to select the primary key for the table. So it is by default, it is already selected, which is title ID. And in this case, our primary key is just a single key, right? So just leave the second column as it is, because we don't, in case of composite key, we are going to use it, right? Then we have the branch pages. So here you see we have two options. So number one is branch here on submit. Now what is this? Like when the user will enter the data into the form, and when it clicks the submit, so this should be stored where we want to, this should be stored in movies. So here we are going to select that it should be stored in movies. And in case if user will press the cancel, so the page will direct it to the, so this action will direct it to the home page. Create page, we are done till here. Okay. So here you are in the page designer, right? And you see the add movie page is included over here. What we have to do, we need to see that this is created or not. So what I will do here, I will just save, and it will redirect us to our application. You can log in now. And here you go. This is our newly created form, add movie, right? And it comes where? It comes under the movies information, right? Okay. So up till now, everything is good to go. The same way we need to, like we are having two more tables, customer and the actor, and the same way we need to create the forms for that. So I'm going to create by using the same steps, I'm going to create the form for customer tables. So create forms, name, add to customer, where it should be stored in the customers table. So create a new entry here. Parent table will be customer information. Primary key is already by default is selected, right? For the branching, same way, when user click the submit button, so the information will go to the customer table, and when it click cancel, this activity redirected to the home page. So now you can see we created 2 pages. Add to customer. Look at here. Now we have let's refresh it. We have the form for add to customer also is there. Now, the most important concept. When girls user will enter the data, we want the main purpose of the database is to keep we want data should be clean and according to our requirements, and there should not be any wrong data or in a wrong format. So for this, we want to make sure that the primary key, since the primary key is generated by the system, we don't want the user should enter the value for the primary key. So what we do here, we are going to create the sequence on these two for these tables. So adding sequence values on a primary key is very beneficial because using these sequences, the Oracle Flex will automatically generate the primary key for each entry, right? So how we can do it? We are going to the object browser. So here in object browser, you see we have sequences. When you expand it, so these are the sequences, which are, available, uploaded by our schema. So 3 tables are there, and we need this customer sequence, we need the movie sequence, and we need the actors sequence, right? So since I'm going to create I'm on the page of the customers table, so we are going to create the sequence for all of these tables. So how we just make sure that you should use the correct spellings of the sequence while you are creating it. So again, I'm going to the page designer of the movie. So here, add movie form. Now what we are going to do, again, that we are going to set the sequence for the title ID, which is the primary key of the movies. We are going to create the sequence for that. Creating sequence means that we want the Oracle Flex will generate the primary key. The user will not enter it for the purpose of integrity, right? So let's start how we can do. First of all, in the left-hand side pane, you can see that title ID is select it. When you select the title ID for which you want to create the sequence, you see on the right-hand side of the screen, some controls are activated. Now, what we are going to do here you can see, okay, this is the name of my sequence. Scroll down and find out the default values. Okay, so here we are in the section of default. Click it, and when you click it, you can find here the sequence, right? Sequence. After that, now you have to give the name of the sequence which you want to use. So since it is for movies, so you need to, maybe you have to type the correct name which you see from the object browser. Okay, so that's it. Save it, right, and run it maybe. Okay, now we are going to do the same process for the customers form. We just created the customers form. Okay. I want to create the sequence for customer ID attribute. So select it. Here you can see by default it will be hidden, right? Which we did in our previous labs. But if it is not, please make sure it should be hidden, right? We don't want the user does not need to see it maybe. Okay, so for the default, you can again check the sequence and the name of the sequence which we got from our object browser. Save it, run it. So up till now, what we did, we just create the forms on our customer table and the movies table. For the actors also, you have to follow the same steps, and you have to create a form for add an actor and also create a sequence for that, right? I just did the two ones. So here, up till now, what we did, we are done with the first activity of our, today's session. The second activity is, now I'm going to create a page control on it. So when I need to create the page control, let's again go to the this is my add to movie page. Before I start the page control, I will take you to the object browser to have a look of the movies table schema. So you will understand better. This is your movies table. This is the, table definition. You can see over here how many, maybe have 6 attributes, and the ID is the title ID is the primary key on which we already created the sequence, and it means now we do not need to provide the value. The user does not need to provide the value for this column, but all other columns, we want the user will provide the value, like title of the movie, description, rating, category, and release date. Let's have a look of the constraints here. Now, all 6 attributes have some constraints on them. Like, for example, the movie category is the constraint on like for the movies primary key is uh, on the ID. The other constraint on the category, that the category should come, has a check constraint, and it is actually coming from the uh, available values, right? Similarly, the movie rating has the check constraint that it should come from this domain. Like you can see the rating category should be G, PG, R, or PG13. The user will just pick up the values out of it. So actually we are going to create a drop-down list which shows all these possible values for the user, and user will pick one of them, right? Instead that the user will type it. Similarly, we have another constraint for not null, and for the description should not be null, and the release date should not be null. All right, so if you see actual data is something like that, you see here. So we want the user will provide us the name of the title, the description, some description, and the rating should come out of some values from some domain, and also the category has some domain. So I'm going to create this, the drop-down list for my user, right? At the moment, if you see here, we do not, uh, you know, have any drop-down list in the movies table. Here you can see add movie. For the rating, we do not have any drop-down list. It means the user should have to put, we want that the choices should be shown for the user over here as a drop-down list. So let's start. So we'll go to our page designer again, right? We'll go to the page designer. Of add movies. So what I do here, you see here for the rating, I want to create the drop-down list. So first from the left-hand pane, I will select this column. When I select the column again on the right-hand side, some controls are activated. So what should I do here? The name, you see the name is already there. We do not need to do anything with that. So, but for the type, when you click it, it shows you the drop-down list. So since I'm going to create the list, so here you will find select list, right? Select list is selected, right? Now, what we want, we choose to create a list. Now, the second thing is that you need to provide the values for this list. So scroll down, and here you will find a list of values, right? Here you can find the list of values. And when you click this, we want according to our requirement, it should be static values, right? We click it static values. So when you click it, then click the static value box, and another pop-up window will be open for you, and here you can provide the values, that what values should be there. So you see that in this pop-up window we have two columns, display value and the return value. Display value, you can consider it's like a label, and return value, girls, sometimes for the sake of convenience or more understanding, the developers give different names, right, to the for their understanding that what values to be returned to the application, right? And this, for the user convenience, we have the labels. Today we are going to keep it the same, both the same, but you can, as a developer, maybe make some differences. So according to our table, there are 4 possible values. So I'm going to one more in the drop-down list, which is R. And here you go. Click OK. Right? Save it. Run it. Okay, we are all set to get the user input. So before we work with it, I will again show you what information should be there. We need to provide the title for the movie, description, rating, category, and release date. For the rating, we created the list of values for the user. So the user will pick from these values. And you see the ID is not there because we keep the ID hidden, and the user does not need to enter that ID because we created the sequence, and the system will automatically generate for IDs for us. Okay. So how many, what is the, at the moment, the cardinality of our table is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, right? Now I'm going to add one more entry and then we will see. Okay. So first we need to give some title. Let's say for the movie. Description, this is very good movie. Okay, for the rating, now you see, we have a, before it was not that. Now I want to select rating from the available choices, category, let's say drama, release date, and take it any release date, and create. Okay, we have some error over here. Now, what is this error? It says that the check constraint movie category violated for the database movies. Okay, we try one more time. We need to make sure that the data should be according to the given the domain of the whatever the domain is, right? So here maybe I will try with the Okay, here you go. So, girls, last time you see for the category also, there is a domain, and I show you from the object browser, the constraints also on the category attribute also has the constraint, right? That the values should come from the domain. So you have to be careful about it. So you see now the new movie is added over here. This one, The Beauty and the Beast, with the description, the newly added is there. So this is how it works. Right, so up till now, we are done with the two activities. In the first activity is about to create the form on all these three tables of the customer Oracle Flex, customers, actors, and the movies. I show you the demo for the customer and the movies. For the actor, you are going to create yourself. Then we create the sequences on each of these forms, and then we create some page controls, and here we create the drop down list. For that you can create the same drop down list for the category attribute. So here I'm stopping, and for the third activity we will see the another video.